that there is no excuse for this violence and there will be no pardon to those who caused it. We saw the opportunists to try and take advantage of some of the mood in the people, which has reason, and some tried to take advantage of it and sow dissent, and there is no justification to the anger and to all those violent clashes, and everyone has right to their opinions, but in a way that allows for the others to oppose that opinion. As soon as violence starts, this freedom ends. So we need to restore the state order, and we're going to take all measures required to do so, because we can't build anything that would be permanent under such circumstances that does not allow for civil liberty and security. So I issued some very strict orders to my government, but I'm not forgetting that there is some people are unhappy, and many of our citizens are not happy indeed. So while I condemn the unacceptable, we should not forget that there is a right to indignation, and people indeed are indignant about some tax measures. We feel that, but I also feel that some justify this indignation and this anger. Certainly there are people who go to work very early and go back home very late. We all know how divorced people and widows sometimes live, making their ends meet barely. These people have a very hard life. People, retired people, also went out to protest on streets. Certainly, I understand that it's not easy on these people, the most disadvantaged citizens that we have, like challenged people. They do have a hard life, but unfortunately, we started to get used to that, which is unacceptable. They began feeling that they were forgotten. For 40 years, we have had this period of about 40 years that the living standard has been deteriorating a lot across the country, and the local authorities were contributing to that in a way. The gap between the layers in society has been growing, and this social unrest, tensions was increasing, and it has been impossible to fix that in recent years, and I understand my responsibility for all of that. I don't want to say that I was busy with doing some other things. I may have offended some of you with what I have been saying, but today I would like to say honestly and openly that I did want to change the political system that we have had, which is often unfair and unjust, and I wanted to do so because I love my country. I'm not guided by something that there's no definition to, but I would like to be guided by the will of our people, and I want to act into the name of the future of France. I believe that we need to find a new way to make the life of our people in our country better, to make sure we do not turn into a country that does not respect itself, does not respect its own people. I've been feeling that this crisis is coming up. I felt that before the election, and that's why I decided to run for president. Today, we are forced to admit that today I'm announcing an economic emergency in our country. We need to support our economy. We need to support our youth, those young people who want to continue studying and to become and live as free people. We want France to become a country where people can live off the fruits of their work. And we have been too slow moving on along that track to becoming such a country. So I am going to require our government to make changes to their work. The minimal wages will be adjusted and increased by 100 euros per month, starting in May 2019. Also, in 2019, we are going to cancel taxes on overtime, labor, and also we're going to introduce special tax-free incentives, bonuses for people, for those who earn less than 2,000 euros per month. And there also will be tax deductions introduced. As of tomorrow, Prime Minister is going to present his proposal to the government, but anyway, this will be only one measure. We also need all our enterprises and the richest members of our society to contribute to this program of support to the economy in our country, and we'll discuss all the necessary changes. There has been talk about the wealth tax reinstated. Well, we have been talking about that. We can say that this tax we already had it did not really help us, because many people would just leave the country to avoid paying it. So we replaced the wealth tax with the property tax. We do need to introduce policies that would help create more jobs across all industries. We need to fight tax evasion and tax fraud, and we're going to work along that track too. It's a difficult economic situation, and we're going to respond with some urgent measures to it. We are going to reduce taxes wherever it's necessary, and we're going to encourage development of industries and production. We need a comprehensive reform in our government. We need to reform the social support and benefits system. It needs to become more transparent and more efficient. We need to pursue a social project. And I would like to propose a national dialogue for that. I would like everyone to partake in that. We need all to work. We need to produce, manufacture, and distribute the products of our work. We need to work on education. We need to fight for improvement of the environmental situation in our country, and altogether we need to undertake all measures necessary to improve the overall situation. All layers of society need to participate in that, and their voices need to be heard. Even those who voted against everyone, the voting system needs to be balanced so that the government, the state machine would be more efficient in the ways it works. We need to address the environmental issues, and at the same time we need to be able to heat up our houses. We need to make sure the state mechanism is not overly centralized when it becomes inefficient. I need for our nation to understand what it is. We also need to discuss immigration. It's an important issue. All this requires a dialogue which has not seen precedent. All institutions need to participate in it, the government and the National Assembly, all the social circles, and all of you, every one of you, will play an important role in it. I would like to be a coordinator of that process and make sure that this process involves our entire country. And these discussions not only represent certain institutions, but all the regions of our country. All citizens of our country need to have people to talk to. These could be city and town mayors. So I'm going to meet in person all the city and town mayors across our country just to create that foundation for the national dialogue. And we all would like to go back to our normal lives, but this crisis has to be the one that ends differently from the previous ones. It is a historical moment for our country, and I would like this crisis to end through a fruitful and positive dialogue that would lead us to success. I am going to talk to you once again in order to report on some achievements, and what I'm doing and what I'm fighting for is for you. This is the fight for France. Vive la France!